Underdog. Damn. Unleash the power.
Jayson Waller here, True Underdog Podcast. Underdogs out there, I have got a fantastic story here to tell you about someone who really was a true underdog, somebody who almost lost their life. This gentleman here is one of 5 quadruple amputees that have survived. He was in the war in Iraq. He was in Afghanistan and had an issue with an IED, an improvised explosive device, and lost his legs and his arms. And since then, he has built a great life. He's married. He's got 2 kids. He's traveling the world, and he's giving back to everybody. He has a wonderful foundation. Let's give it up for Travis Mills. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Living life to the fullest every day that I can, because I'm fortunate to still be able to be home and make it through my injuries.
Well, listen, first I want to say thank you for, protecting our country and out there and risking your life and serving our military. Not enough people understand that it's really hard for you to be away from your family and go out there and serve something you truly believe in. And you come back and your life is upside down and it changes. And we're going to get into that story. But what you're doing now, Travis, talk about the foundation now that you've built, and then let's talk about the story.
Yeah, so my wife and I wanted to give back. We were shown so much love and support at the hospital that we thought we'd do care packages overseas. We started the Travis Mills Foundation. It went so well with the care packages, and then I learned how to go downhill mountain biking and snowboarding and all these cool activities. And I realized I was only doing it because my daughter was 6 months old and I got injured, and I wanted to be able to do stuff with her, knowing that I'm not going to throw softball, I'm not going to play soccer, but we can still do outdoor action activity sports. And we thought, let's bring some families out to Maine, where my wife is from. We just settled, and we brought some families out, and it went so well that we bought a facility and fixed it up for 2 years to $4.5 million. And now we bring out 8 families per week that have been through physical injuries of paralyzation, amputation, spinal cord injuries due to service. Could be combat, could be just something that happened in training. And, we show them that, hey, life goes on, and they live up the slogan of never give up, never quit. And we make sure they realize they need to be active in their family as well as active in their society. And it's going really well. We've helped over 500 families to date. We opened officially in 2017, and we're opening our season back up June 27th. So that's exciting. And then we wanted to do a little bit more. We always want to keep expanding our horizons. Mm-hmm. And I always got asked about post-traumatic stress. I don't suffer from anything. I've killed people. I've watched my buddies die. Doesn't bother me. I don't, lose sleep over it. But I know post-traumatic stress is real. And we became a partner with Warrior Path, which is out of Boulder Crest Foundation, and it's the leading post-traumatic growth program in the nation. And if anybody out there has deployed post 9/11 that is going through post-traumatic stress, go to my website, travismillsfoundation.org, and sign up for the Warrior Path program. It's free. It's one of the best in the nation, if not the best. And, we have a program actually starting today. So I'm very fired up. Get 8 more veterans in here and let them know, hey, life goes on. Let's find out what triggers you, and let's find out how we can divert our anger and make sure we live a positive, more helpful, and longer, lasting happiness is what we go for. So a better life.
Well, Travis, you give me goosebumps when as positive as you are and as the curveballs that you've been thrown. Let's talk about that. Despite losing portions of both arms and legs on your duty in Afghanistan in 2012, you overcome life's challenges. You broke physical barriers, defied the odds, and you live by a motto called never give up, never quit. Tell me what that means. What do the listeners need to know when Travis Mills says never give up, never quit?
Yeah, so after my injury, I was working out and I was really frail. I went from 250 pounds, 6'3" to 3'6" maybe. I'm not sure how tall I am with my legs off, but and 140 pounds. I lost 110 pounds. And I was so weak at one point I couldn't roll over or sit up by myself. But I went to occupational therapy, and as I was doing some sit-ups, the occupational therapist was like, hey, do you want to take a break? And I'm like, I'm never going to give up. I'm just never going to quit like that. And she goes, that was a silly question. I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to quit. And then I just kind of coined never quit, because that's how my recovery went. Whenever something was hard, I just had to push through. I had to make the decision early on to live my life and understand I had 2 choices. And the one choice was just, sit here and be miserable. Or the other, option 2 is get better. You either get better or you don't. And there's nothing I can do to change what happened to me, so I might as well get better. And that's kind of where the whole slogan of never give up, never quit came from. And in the military, you're fortunate that you don't have an option. You get told what you got to do, and you got to get the job done. You can't quit or you can't give up. And I just took that to my everyday life, and now we're doing pretty well. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think I'm thriving in a world where I have, fake hands, fake legs, and I can still do everything I want to do.
I looked at your Instagram when we first set up to do this podcast, and I was sharing it with my wife and my kids, and I was like, look at this guy. Look how happy he is. Look at his family. This is a guy who's trying, and you can tell when people are putting BS on social media, but you're living your life. That is amazing. People don't understand. They find excuses to not do things. They find reasons to not excel. They've put their own obstacles in their own way, where you said, this is BS. I'm doing this now. This is how I'm going to do things. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to crush it. I'm going to get back. I'm not going to be stuck in this. That's that mindset of never give up, never quit, right?
Oh, absolutely. But I built barriers too, though, because I would say I need to lose weight, and then I realized I don't want to lose weight because I'm ordering a Philly cheesesteak sandwich with my fries and throwing barbecue sauce on it. So I might have a strong mind and an iron will to get things done, but I'm just as regular as everybody else. But you can't change what happened to me. I can't go back in time. No matter how many times I close my eyes and hope and wish and pray this wasn't my reality, it is. And after I got over the fact that it happened, I recognized I could reminisce the past, right? I didn't have to dwell no more. There's nothing to dwell on. A lot of my friends didn't make it back home, and I still have the opportunity to be here. And my wife and I have made a very, very good life. I own a few businesses. I'm putting a brewery in right now in a restaurant next to my marina. I have 180 boat slips in my lodge that I bought, drinking whiskey with a buddy one night because our wife said don't do it, so we did. Best, worst decision ever. Thank you, Basil Hayden's. But, life's going to go on. And you can either be the victim or you can get up and stop the pity party and get after it. And that's kind of what I do. I don't even call myself a wounded warrior. I actually hate that term because, nowadays if you're a veteran, they're like, oh, you're a veteran, what's wrong? And I'm like, whoa. I'm fine. I'm living my best life. I drive my truck the way I want to drive it with my prosthetic leg. I do whatever I want. I take my daughter to gymnastics and soccer, and I have a son now. He's 3, so that tells everybody still got it, still works. You go. But you got a 3-year-old son named Dax, and life goes on, and it's what you make out of it. So no matter how shitty my day was, sorry.
No, you tell anything. This isn't PG-13.
Yeah.
You say what the fuck you want. It's okay.
I got you. But no matter how bad my day was that day, I can't dwell on that because there's nothing I can do.
Well, I'm going to ask you to talk about that day. So you go into that day, and it was on April 10th. 2012. Talk the listeners and viewers through that day. How did the day start, and then what happened?
Yeah, it started pretty normal. I mean, I woke up, probably was singing because I like to annoy people because I outranked them. They couldn't tell me to stop, and then we had a day off, but the village elder called, said he needed some help. We said no problem because it was pretty typical. We went on patrol. We had our minesweepers out, looks like a metal detector kind of, and we swept the ground not once but twice. The guy that did it, marked it clear. Nothing alerted him or alarmed him, so it wasn't on him, just unfortunate. And I took my backpack off at a short halt, and I dropped it on the ground, and it was 120 pounds with ammo and grenades and food and water and everything, batteries, whatever, and it landed on top of a bomb. And the bomb went off and detonated, and it tore off my right arm, right leg automatically. They never found those pieces of me. I got thrown to the left side of my face, and when I rolled over on my back, I could see that my right side was gone. My left leg was snapped through the bone, if you can imagine. So my left ankle bone was dangling next to my thigh because there was muscle and tendon, but that was it. And then my left wrist was blown out real bad at the mid wrist. It's pretty bad, but I still used my thumb and index and middle finger. My medic ran up to me, and my medic was working on me, and my platoon sergeant was working on me. I told him, hey, don't worry about it. You're not going to save me. And the reason I did that was because I saw guys go for what I thought was a lot less injury. So I thought, you're wasting your time. I got guys yelling medic. So they ignored me, put tourniquets on me. But in my head, I kept seeing the movie Saving Private Ryan. And in the movie, there's a medic that gets shot in the stomach. He realizes he's going to die. And he starts to cry out for his mom. He begs for his life. And I just told myself, I will never be that guy because I always exuded confidence. I was the first in a firefight, last out. I was always leading from the front. And no way would my last memory for my guys be me crying for my life. Matter of fact, I was telling the medics, hey, guys, thanks so much. Whatever happens, not your fault. We're going to be okay. And I actually radioed my lieutenant with my left hand, though, I had still used a little bit of, and I radioed my lieutenant, and I called him, and I said, hey, 6, this is 4. I got guys injured. I need your medic with mine. So I called the other medic over to work on the other 2 guys. They got me on a helicopter. And when they got me on a helicopter, I had to yell at the flight medic to give my guys water and tell them they're going to be okay and reassure them. And I'm trying to like wink at them through like this protective goop they put in your eyes so that you don't get scratched up from the rotor wash of the helicopters and all this craziness. But, you know, I'm like telling, hey, it's okay. And like these medics on the helicopter, first sergeant and staff sergeant, were so moved by it. They actually wrote a letter to my wife. When I published it in my book, my, you know, memoir, if you will, I got a New York Times bestseller called Tough as They Come Out. And it's done very well, but I published a letter because they were so impressed, and I didn't think I was doing anything but taking care of my guys because mission first. And I think they helped me keep my mind off my actual injuries, just worrying about them. And then I got to the hospital, and I kept trying to sit up, and the nurse kept pushing me down. And finally, about the third time, I said, "Quit touching me, I'm fine. Like, leave me alone." I got back to my guys. I got my feet back underneath me. My feet were gone, basically. So then they medically sedated me on the operating table, and I looked at that nurse and I said, "My little girl, I'm never going to see her again." You know, because at the time I had a 6-month-old. And, you know, I didn't know if I was going to make it home. So they worked on me for 14 hours, 9 doctors and 7 nurses. And they gave me over 400 units of blood, which is the most blood ever given. And I was in such a bad state that they actually ran out of blood in the blood bank. So they had to like have people run and donate from their veins to put into my body. A positive universal blood. And my brother-in-law, who was in the military and was deployed as well in a different part of Afghanistan, got the phone call that I got hit because when you deploy, you have to fill out basically your funeral paperwork, like buried here with this music, with these items in my coffin, like real morbid stuff. But the last thing it says is who escorts your body home. And I said, you know, Josh takes my body back to his wife, to my wife, his sister, and to my parents. So Josh flew in, and they had me stable but critical after 14 hours. They flew me to Bagram on the 12th of April. They cut my left hand off. That's all I had left was the left one because the other 3 were gone. And then 2 days after that, on April 14th, they woke me up for the very first time out of my medical sedation. And it was my 25th birthday that day. And my birthday is the 14th. And the first thing out of my mouth was my soldiers honor my soldiers, right? It's all about mission first. And he told me, my brother-in-law was the one in the room, he told me.
What did he say about your soldiers?
And Josh.
Okay.
He said, Ryan's here. He took he took some shrapnel. He's going to be fine. And then Brandon's back in Kandahar. And he's okay too, you know. And then I asked him if I was paralyzed, and he said no. And then I said, Josh, I can't feel my fingers and toes. You can tell me the truth. And he said, man, you don't have them anymore. And I said, oh. And then for about 3 hours, I just ignored everybody. Like the doctors and nurses and Josh all had questions. I had my own questions, right? Am I a bad person? Does God hate me? What did I do wrong in life to deserve this? How can I be a husband and a father? And, you know, it's funny because I'm friends with Gary Sinise now, Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump. But I had a real Lieutenant Dan moment where I'm like, why didn't I just die on the battlefield? Like, how is this better? It wasn't suicidal. Like, I want people to understand. It wasn't like a suicidal thought, but it was like, how the hell is this going to be better for me? Like, this is miserable. You know, I'm basically a 25-year-old baby where someone's got to
feed me. You didn't want to burden anybody. You felt like you were a burden. Yeah.
No. And that's what I was worried about. So, like, I called my wife, and the only thing I said to her on the phone, you know, that day was, hey, what's up? I'm fine. Love you. Bye. And I just didn't want to be a burden. And when I saw my wife for the first time, when I got back to the States on the 17th, she had to sign paperwork. They had to cut my leg off a little bit higher. My stitches ripped open. It was a real weird situation. And the next day on the 18th, I told her she should leave. Like, she's 23. We have a 6-month-old. Like, take the house, the cars, any money, financially, whatever I have is yours. But this isn't life I would choose for you, you know. But she stayed, and she was a little bit offended at that. And, you know, I can't commend her enough for her actions, for staying with me. And at first it was probably obligation. Now it's like my social media following so big. So if she leaves, I told her I would ruin her life. So you got that whole blackmail thing going on.
I know.
No, I'm just kidding. But no, and we've done really well at building a life that I'm proud of, that she can be proud of, and that my kids don't feel different because their dad has no arms and legs. Like, I'm a steward of the community. I'm very well known.
And that's what they've known.
Doing good.
That's what they've grew up knowing. So it's not different to them.
Yeah. And that's what we try to do at the foundation is let people know, like, be active in your community. Like, people are going to stare. I mean, I would stare at me, and, try not to look. It's like a train wreck, right? You're like, oh, geez, I got one more time. Okay, I'm done. No, I got to go back and look. So I just get out front of it, and I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm Travis. How are you? And, I've been very fortunate where I'm at in Maine. They all basically know me, know who I am. And that's nice. And a lot of people throughout the nation, like I'll go through airport and some people are like, hey, I read your book or da-da-da. And I'm like, that's really cool. I appreciate that. But I'm just not going to shy away from it. You know, my personality is not going to let me shy away and, you know, be a recluse and go back to my house and not go anywhere. I'm just going to say, hey, look, we live in a great nation that takes care of me. I got prosthetics that I can walk, feed myself, drive, whatever. And, you know, now when people talk about me, it's not the guy with no arms, no legs as much as like, you know, the guy that owns a marina, the guy that has a big nonprofit, brings in those veterans. You know, he's got Chloe's dad. You know, it's not like that one kid's dad with no arms and legs. It's like, no, Chloe's dad or Dax's dad, you know, and that's what matters to me. I don't know why it matters so much, but I want people to look past my injuries because I'm the same person I was before.
I think that you're a tough son of a bitch, dude. And if you make a book, it needs to be called Tough SOB. Another book, I mean, because like, you know, the mentality that you have, it's rare, right? And I can't even imagine what you've gone through. I mean, you know, everyone has their shit that they go through and they try to tough it up and get through it. But your story is amazing. And I think that, you know, your kids and your wife are overly proud of you and it's normal to them. And I try to relate. It's nothing like what you went through, but I was 16 and I fell out of a truck and like teeth came out and my lip was huge. And I ended up having a kid at 17, 18 years old and married my high school sweetheart. We got 4 kids and I actually have 2 grandkids now. But at that time, I was in the hospital. Nothing like we were, but I got this huge mouth and teeth missing, and I'm scared my girl's not going to like me anymore. Like, well, you're not going to want to be with me anymore. I felt ashamed, right? Like, oh my gosh. And she's like, no, I love you. You're fine. And I healed, but I couldn't imagine, but I can somewhat relate about the burden. You know, there's been times you don't want to burden somebody because you want more for them. It's not about self-pity. It was about burdening somebody and making it harder for them.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, and I just now I'm not that guy. I was a guy that used to be able to, I mean, I was 6'3", 250, like worked out all the time. I carried up my washer and dryer upstairs, 3 flights of stairs when I got my apartment by myself. Not that my friends wouldn't help me. I'm like, no, I got this.
Yeah.
And now I'm the guy that's like, hey, can you put food in my mouth, please, so I can eat? Can you help me wipe my butt? This is embarrassing. And I was like, this sucks. So 5 weeks into my recovery, I got my arm for the very first time. And I was like, never again. Never again will I go through that. And, you know, now I still am the guy helping people and the guy that wants to be out front. But I need people to realize that my story shouldn't dwarf anybody else's, right? We all have our own stuff.
Exactly.
We all have problems. And I tell people that, like just because you see my injuries and they're on the outside or they're visible doesn't mean that my story or my problems outweigh yours. Now, I've had people walk up like, oh, man, I was having a bad hair day. Then I saw you and realized maybe my life's not so bad. And I'm like, you can go away from me because I think you're like, they weren't even joking. Like, this lady was serious. I was like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
But other people will be like, well, geez, what I'm going through, like what you went through at 16. No, that's traumatic. Like, that's a real life problem.
Yep.
Having a kid in high school that young is a real life situation. Yeah. And I would never say a kid's a problem. I love my kids.
No, but it's hard. Your life changes. No,
Definitely.
You don't know what's going to
Definitely.
happen. You're right.
Yeah,
Everyone has their shit and how people handle it, whether you're sexually abused, whether you're physically abused, whatever it could be. You know, I was just talking about the physical part of it. Like, you know, mine was just falling down. I remember that, but I always tell myself, I don't want to be a burden to my family. You know, I'm kind of a lone wolf when things are tough for me, and things do get tough. I'm running a company that's worth almost $1 billion. I'm doing this Apple Top 5 podcast, and I'm trying to kick it with our Detroit Lions players, right? Watch them lose all the time. And I try to be the best father I could be, the best husband I could be, the best son I can be, the best grandfather I can be. I sometimes I get depressed sometimes, or I feel outside of the box, like I'm burdened. I need time to be a lone wolf. I'm upset about something. Give me time. And I could hear some of that in your voice when you're like, just leave me alone. Let me do my thing. You have some of that independent wolf type feeling where you need to be a lone wolf to really reflect, right?
Oh yeah, I get in trouble a little bit. So like, I believe in PTSD, and I believe that people need help with it. When mental health came to my room, right? Like, I don't talk to anybody about my problems. Like, I've never yelled at my wife in anger. This is not who I am. I don't think anger solves anything. You know, it's not going to be a positive outcome. Like, in the military, if I had to yell, like, you really messed up for me to yell, and it meant something rather than those other guys that would yell all the time. You're like, stop, shut up. You know, it had to mean something. Yeah. Had to really go to that level. Well, for me, mental health came in the first time, and I was sleeping. And my wife told me mental health came in. I said, okay, tell him not to come back. I ain't talking to him. They came back a second time, and my wife's like, hey, mental health's here. And I pretended like I was sleeping. The third time, they had like this makeshift like splint material on my arm, duct tape, and a spoon duct tape to it, and I'm feeding myself cereal with this little arm contraption. And they walked in, and I looked over and said, "Oh shit!" And I from seated, threw myself back in my bed, like kicked back. And the lady walks up and she says, "What are you doing?" And I gave her my name, rank, and my social security number. She's like, "What?" And I gave it to her again. She goes, "I don't understand what you're doing." I said, "That's all you tell the enemy, so you can take and leave, or you can just leave." I said, "But we're not having any discussions." And my wife's like, "You're gonna make her cry." I'm like, "Well, I told you, tell him I ain't talking to nobody." And I like to handle things internally, which I guess is maybe bad, but I never talked to mental health. It just wasn't something I was willing to divulge anything about myself. And I do better with my friends and having people lean on me and helping them with their problems. And if I have anything going on, like, yeah, I have a conversation, but. No, and then I had like a social worker that they assigned me. I had to go talk to. Like everybody had to do it, and I went there the first time, and she was asking questions. I said, "Look, this isn't like the movies. There's no like aha moment. We have a breakthrough, and then I tell you all my interpersonal things." I said, "We're just going to waste an hour of your day." Right. And I said, "And I appreciate what you do, but we don't need to do this anymore." And the second session I went to, she was like, "You're really just not gonna." I'm like, "No, and it's nothing against you. I appreciate you, but I'll do things my way. Thank you." And look. I stand by what I did for me, but I don't think that is probably the right way for everybody.
Right. No, I can relate, though. I don't want to talk to anybody about my problems. I like to handle that internally, right? I totally get that. It's something I have to process. It's a control thing, by the way. We want to control what we're handling because we feel like we have the best shot to get it done. I think that's what it is. It's like, you know what? I appreciate you pretending to be in my mind and my soul and what's going on. And look, you've got the education. You could probably give me a good roadmap, but this is my shit. Let me deal with it. So I can relate. Yeah. So you said you opened a couple businesses. Let's talk about that. So you come back, you have beautiful kids, you're traveling the world, you're a motivational speaker, which I can totally tell having you here on stage, on the podcast and how you're really getting me excited. I know you can get people jacked up. Talk about the first couple businesses, being an entrepreneur that you've opened up.
I'll tell you what, I've been blessed with a great family, my wife and the kids, but also my parents and my support group. I started speaking, and I was running around the country for like $1,200, $1,500, $3,000, and flying coach and buying my own Uber and stuff. And obviously that's changed drastically over the years, which is I'm thankful for, right? You got to start somewhere.
Yep.
So I was doing that, and it's me and my father-in-law, Craig, and my wife, and that's kind of that business. And then I was on my boat one day, and the owner of this, I started flipping houses too. I should tell you that. Like I had some real big home runs. Got very fortunate before the market got saturated because the Army pays you TSGLI money, they call it. They give you $50,000 per limb, but they cap it at $100,000. And a lot of guys go out and they buy like a nice Escalade or some really cool sports car that's going to lose its value. And I was like, we're going to flip some houses, and we're going to do what we need. So I flipped some houses, hit some home runs. I've been very fortunate with that. And then I bought this marina, and this marina was like 70 boat slips, and it was a motel. I'm not going to say, look, motel.
With an M, not an H, with an M, right?
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Norman Bates really screwed us on the motel word. So now we renamed it Lakeside Lodge and Marina.
There you go.
So it's like a lodge now. And we've done a lot of updates. We have 180 boat slips. So, I went from 70 to 180. We have the same rooms and cabins and cottages, but we put a cafe in, a full store, and a lure and tackle shop. And then next door, I bought that property with my buddy and another guy. And we're putting in a brewery right now. Should open in September. And then
what's the brewery going to be called?
White Duck Brew Pub, because in the 1900s it was called White Duck Pub, and that was the White Duck Inn, and then it came with taxidermy shop from other businesses, and we're going to put the White Duck Brew Pub for the nostalgia of it.
Yeah,
pretty fired up about it. And then I own a few rental properties. I don't know. I'm always grinding, and I think maybe that's why I do well, because I keep myself busy. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to start a lure and tackle company here in the next couple of weeks. Like I already got the trademarks done, and I got the LLC started. And, I just keep going, and I'm fired up. I'm putting an event center in pretty soon because I just know how good the business is, and it's going to work out great with the resort-style feel I'm going for.
Yeah.
And I think people always say, hey, what's one word, Travis, that describes you? And they think I'm going to say something like really cool. And I'm like, stubborn. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, no, stubborn. I am stubborn as they come, as well, as tough as they come. Yeah. And I will keep trying something that I know is going to work, even if it doesn't work the first time or second or third, because I know it can work. And that's like this foundation. I started it from nothing, an idea, and a $5,000 donation to now being very successful. We run off donations, and volunteer work. So if you guys want to get involved, come
Power
on,
Home Solar would
time.
love to get involved, so I'm excited to collaborate after this.
Well, I appreciate that. And then
part of it.
Like I was saying, I have a great family too. My mom and dad. My mom worked at a place 39 years, and I said, "Hey, Mom, want to coast into retirement? Just come run this marina with me." And my dad was already retired. He came and ran it for 2-3 years. And there was times, because it was pretty dilapidated, old, rundown place that, and it was nice for what it was. But anyway, there was times my mom was like, "I don't need a paycheck this week. Like, don't worry about it. Like, we're fine." And my dad was like, "I'm not getting paid this summer, and we'll make it up to him." And like, "Hey, hold this bill. It's net 30, so let's wait a little bit." To now, fast forward, 5th season going in, it's like we have a money in the bank. We have all these improvements we made, and it's funny because you look back at pictures of me and my business partner, who was just a buddy that I met like maybe a month before that from Maine, and we're sitting in this little tiny office drinking a beer and talking about what we're going to do with this place. And now you walk in, and it's like a lure and tackle shop and a cafe, and we're still drinking a beer though in most of the pictures.
Isn't that amazing though? Because people think, and you
Yeah.
said that's 5 years, right? People think that there's one of my lines I always use is there's no elevator in life, you have to take the stairs, right? And so when you go back and you look at those pictures, because I've done the same thing, like, oh, look at this business. It started with 13 employees. Now we got almost 2,000. But now you don't know any better. And as long as you stay in the moment, and that's what you did, as long as you stay in that 6-month realm of, hey, we're at the beginning of this. Hey, we're at the first quarter of this. Hey, we're at the second quarter. Then you never lose focus. You don't get wow moments until you look at something that's 5 years old and you go, holy moly, look where we were, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I can tell you, like, still, we haven't taken a dime out of the business. All we do is reinvest, because he has his own IT company.
So smart.
His wife's a dentist, and myself, like my motivational speaking, and I have a military pension and a couple other, business stuff. We decided that, if we did take anything, it'd be like probably year 6, like next year. And we've always said from the beginning, let's get 6 years down the road. And then if we want to take, some distributions or whatever, pay ourselves back what we've invested, that's fine. But we're probably going to do a refinance loan and put $800,000 into capital improvements, like new roof, rearrange rooms, just really make it like a resort style feel. And we're putting an event center on the same location so that we'll have companies hopefully rent out, 3 days with us. We have rental boats. We were fortunate. We did a good deal, and we sold some cottages off, made a killing on that, so we could pay off $100,000 worth of rental boats that we have for brand new Avalon pontoons. And no, I mean, I don't know, like we know that there's potential, but we also know, like, it's not about lining our pockets right now. It's about building what we want to build, and then the payoff will be either when we take distributions or we sell it and we make, what we need to make on it. So
smartest thing you can do is reinvest that money, dude. Pay yourself last. Yeah. That's the best thing you can do.
And that's like my foundation. Like I tell people, Kelsey and I started it with a $5,000 donation. I've never taken a dime. My wife's never taken a dime. It's not about me getting paid. It's about giving back to these veterans and their families. Mm-hmm. And people think I'm weird because I always want to bring that up. But I'm like, there's so many nonprofits out there that you look at their financials and you're like, wow, that doesn't, I don't know.
Doesn't add up.
I'm like, look, I'm sitting here going, I will never take money from this place. And it's all about giving back. And I think it's important that people know that, because I just want them to know, like, that's how dedicated I am. I mean, I put a lot of hours in, and I don't know, it's fun. At the end of the day, it's fun. I mean, I'm thankful. The stress of the marina, I had a meeting with the DEP today about some Eurasian milfoil thing, and just the stress of, I don't know, I enjoy it. I think I need something to do, as weird as that might sound.
Well, I tell you what you can do. You and the fam can come up here to Michigan, go to a Lions game. We'll bring you on the field, introduce you to some of those players, and I may be able to book you a gig to at least come speak to my team. I mean, we've got 400 sales reps and 400 installers, and I think that you've got a tremendous story, and I know you can motivate them. They get sick of hearing me every damn month. And so we bring guest speakers every blue moon, but I think you can come in and crush it and get these guys motivated and inspired. So we're definitely going to have to talk about that. But I got to get you back to your roots, man. We got to take you, go see some Lions games, dude. Do some intros, like meet Chris Spielman, all absolutely. That stuff. So, well, that's my dude, is Spielman. Like we became buddies recently. So
when Jim Schwartz was there,
yeah,
right. I got him. I tell people my hand's voice activated, and I'm joking around, and it's not really. And I had him yelling at it and told him his voice too feminine, because Megatron told me to get Coach Schwartz. Boy, I tell you what, that guy did not like to joke around. And he did not like the team laughing and having a good time. Now, Jason Garrett and the Cowboys love it. I don't know why Jason took me under his wing when he was for the Cowboys, and he reached out as the Giants or whatever, and whatever. I mean, I just truly love football, but man, I can remember Coach Schwartz he was not pleased at all with that joke, and I was like, man, you got to lighten up a little bit, buddy.
Yeah.
But I'm excited where they're heading.
The new coach is exciting. He's cool. Dan's cool.
Didn't he wear a helmet yesterday?
I don't know. I didn't read that. I know he wanted to get a real lion. He talked about eating kneecaps, but I like him. Like I like him.
Yeah. On SportsCenter this morning, I was watching it, and they showed a clip of him at his press conference, and he had like a race car helmet on with a lion on it, and then he comes up and takes it off. He's like, "All right, we can ask questions now." And I was like, "Random." This
guy's a show, but it's okay. Show's good. Show is good.
Yeah.
We definitely gonna have to get together. Well, how can everyone be a part of your foundation? Let's give them the website again. How can they follow you and really be inspired by you, Travis?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So my handles are at SSG Travis Mills, Facebook, Instagram. I think I got to get better on Twitter. Whatever, I'll do it.
You and me
both. And LinkedIn and all that. But I also, just travismills.org will give you all the Travis Mills rundown, the Travis Mills Foundation and everything. So I do appreciate that. I mean, this is awesome getting a chance to hang out with you and talk with you. And
well, some true underdogs are going to hear this story and get motivated and get inspired. And I'm sure they're going to check out your book. What's the book called?
It's called Tough as They Come.
Tough as they come. The next one needs to be Tough Son of a Bitch, right? Or something like SOB, something.
If I can be honest, the next one's called Bounce Back. I'm working on it right now.
Well, there you go. There you go. Bounce Back's a great name. That's a great book name. I've just finished my first book, and
how'd it go?
Mine is called Own Your Power. No bullshit, no excuses. The time is now. And it's really like 8 steps that relate to stories of overcome. Because I didn't finish high school. I didn't go to college. I built 3 companies. So it kind of like has tidbits in there of how to build a company, how to create your own map, how to scared money don't make money. I heard you say in your investor, hey, we're going to go flip these houses. Like you got to take risks or you're not going to get a reward. So, that's really what the book's about. It comes out in August. I'm doing the book cover right now, but the book is done. So I'm pretty jacked. Now, I had a ghostwriter because I can't write for shit. Can't spell very good, so I had to tell the story.
Don't worry. I have a ghostwriter.
Okay, good. Yeah. So
I was right-handed, so my handwriting's a little bit.
Yeah, I figured. Maybe the writing would be hard, but you could type, right? You type.
Oh yeah. But
it'd be a pain in the ass, though. I don't want to type something. I'll misspell things, and then I don't want someone to edit. And go, really? You didn't know how to spell that? I just don't want to be that person. I'm like, look, I'll talk. You write. We're good. So
that same thing. I right after this, I had a phone call scheduled. She called early accidentally, but with my collaborative author for this new book, Bounce Back. But it's going to just basically every company hires me to talk about resiliency. They just, I like breaking it down and use my military training that I had and why it works and, not focusing on the why this happened because I got over that a long time ago. Because you can go down some rabbit holes with like why me and all that stuff. So I don't know. It's just it's how it works. But I'm fired up about it. It should come out. I'm hoping around Veterans Day, but we'll see. But either way, congratulations, and I'll have to pre-order that. So
congrats to you. I need a copy of your book signed. I've got about.
I'll have Craig. Yeah.
I have 9 books on my shelf of people I've had on the show that they sign and send to me, and those are the ones I like to I talk about a lot. So
I'll take care of that today. I'll send it out to you. I'll get in the mail today or Monday.
Perfect. So. Well, hey, thank you for coming on the show. That's a wrap here on True Underdog. Bam! And that concludes another episode here on True Underdog. If you're interested in hearing more, make sure you subscribe at iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the YouTube channel. You can always visit TrueUnderdog.com, subscribe to all of them. Make sure you check out our newest episodes coming out on Mondays and Thursdays. True Underdog, baby. Bam!